Welcome aboard, shipmates. This is Real Sailors, Real Sea Stories, a training program created for the United States Naval Sea Cadet Corps by our friends and supporters at the Navy Talent Acquisition Group in Philadelphia. I'm your host, Warrant Officer David Sheets from the Naval Sea Cadet Corps, and I am joined by my all-star crew of MC1 Quinlan, who's our PAO, STG1 Lewison, who is our Technical Support Director, and also from the Naval Sea Cadet Corps, Ensign DePippo, who is our Talent Scout. Today, cadets, we have the subject that I know you're really going to like. What is it about? It's about being a gunner's mate. Are you kidding me? This is going to be some really great stuff. So pay attention, learn some great stuff, but mostly ask questions. And when you have questions, put them in the comments section. We'll read them out. We'll get all those answered. But seriously, we're going to have fun playing with guns. I love that line. That is so great. Our special guest today is GM1 Maria Barrera. Sorry, messed that up. I'll do better. Okay. And she comes to us also from the Talent Acquisition Group in Philadelphia. Is that correct?
No, I'm in Virginia Beach.
See, what do I know? This is all live, people. So watch me make mistakes along the way. So you're in Virginia Beach. Thank you very much for spending your time with us. Really appreciate it. So, cadets, remember, this is also some online training. So at the end, we will be posting our link for your quiz. So take the quiz, do those 10 questions. It's no big deal. Get your 2 hours of virtual drill credit and be better for the experience. So without any delay, live from Virginia Beach, Virginia, okay, we're going to pass over this ship to you. GM1, this ship is all yours.
Hi, everyone. Like you said, I'm GM1 Barrera, gunner's mate, first class. And yeah, I'm here from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Hey, let's hear about your story.
Okay, well, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I was born and raised there. I joined the Navy in 2011. So I've been in 9 years. The reason I joined is because I have 3 older brothers, the oldest of which joined the Marines. The next one joined the Army. Then my youngest older brother joined the Air Force, and I figured there was only one branch left, so I'll join the Navy.
Was there some sort of competition at home for that, or was it like, hey, sis, you have no choice? It's either.
Oh, no, it was just everyone did it, and then whenever I was about to graduate, they were like, well, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I guess I'm going in the Navy. So that's what I did, and I'm really glad I did. I love it. I've done some really cool stuff, and so it's been great. The best thing about my job really is that I get to teach people how to shoot and about guns, getting to work with people that think that they can't do something and teaching them. And then at the end, whenever they finally do, they complete a course or they get a better score. It's really awesome that they know they can do it.
Ah, fantastic. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Best memory is getting to go on an Iraqi warship. That was really cool. We got to take a rib, which is a little small inflatable boat, over to their ship on one of our deployments, and I got to teach them how to use weapons. We got to do a gun shoot with them. They fed us some really amazing food, and then we got to go back to our ship after.
So I'm assuming that was in the Persian Gulf?
Yes. Okay.
So before you went to do that, was there any sort of apprehension, like, what am I doing? This could be kind of crazy, or how did you feel when you got that mission and you were starting to execute against it?
Oh, I was really excited. There was no apprehension. It was, hey, do you want to go over to this ship and teach them crew-served weapons? And I was like, yes, of course I do.
Okay, excellent. So what you went to Great Lakes, clearly, right?
Yes.
So a lot of our cadets are contemplating joining, and one of their big questions that they're always interested in is, what was your experience like in recruit training? And in particular, what did you do in order to get yourself, say, mentally or physically prepared for that?
I talked to all of my friends and all of my family, and I was like, hey, y'all are going to write me letters because I know I'm going to need support. I'm going to need someone to talk me through this.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I got tons of letters and care packages. And so it was really nice the whole time I was there, knowing that there was people that were waiting for me whenever I graduated boot camp.
Oh, great. And did you have a contingent of people there when you graduated?
I did. I had a really big section and they were very loud as we were walking by, our whole division. It was really great.
Oh, fantastic. Really great.
I couldn't make eye contact with them because I was so afraid of looking up at them and like moving my head while I was marching in formation.
So you were more afraid of the RDC than you were of anything else.
Yes.
Fair enough. So why did you choose the gunner's mate rate? Because that's it's an interesting paradigm that you chose that. So you have your brothers, they're in these armed conflict, direct combat groups.
Yeah,
then you join the Navy, but now you're a gunner's mate. So
yeah, I wanted to have a better, cooler job than all of them. And I think the best way to do that is working with guns and missiles.
Okay, very nice. And where is A school for this?
A school is in Great Lakes also. So we just went right across the street to the base that's across from RDC. Or
Okay.
RDC.
Okay, so explain what A school's like for gunner's mates.
Well, at the time, it was mostly computer-based training. We go through a lot of electrical training because people don't understand that's a big part of our job also, with the troubleshoot and things like that. So we did a lot of computer-based training, learning electronics and how systems work. And then we went into more hands-on cleaning weapons. That's what I'm doing in that first picture.
Okay.
Learning how to take apart weapons, put them back together, function check them. Then we worked with torpedoes, loading them, unloading, doing maintenance checks. That was a big thing too, learning about magazine sprinklers and how they work, doing maintenance on them as well.
All right. So for those who haven't dealt with this directly, what's a magazine sprinkler?
Oh, it's a system, just like any kind of sprinklers, like fire alarms. If something were to catch on fire, if it was too hot, then it'll melt a fuse in a system and it'll start spraying water all over magazines so ammo doesn't, blow up.
That's a good thing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Very nice. Do you remember what was one of your most challenging things that you had to go through in recruit training?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I feel like you don't get to really know people because you're afraid of, talking to them during the day while you're supposed to be training.
Right.
And then, at night you get so tired, you just want to go to sleep. But, you meet people and you're like, wow, I think we could be really good friends. And then they leave you and then you get sad.
Okay. Excellent. Very cool. All right. So sorry, I'm interrupting, but this is some really stuff. So you were stationed on a couple ships as well?
Okay. Yes. So after I went through A school, I went to C school in San Diego for the Mark 45, the 5-inch gun, the really big one that's on the front of cruisers and destroyers. Cruisers also have one in the back. But so I spent a couple months out there. Then I went to the USS San Jacinto, which is a cruiser in Norfolk, Virginia. It was a lot of fun. It's a big ship and there's a lot of work to do. I went on one deployment on the San Jacinto. We went to the Persian Gulf in 5th Fleet and it was so much fun. We got to travel a lot of places. I went to Italy, Bahrain, Dubai, and I had so much fun on that one. My next ship was the USS Stout, which is the destroyer, kind of like a cruiser, but smaller. There was only one 5-inch on that one, so I had half the work, but it was still just as tiring. It was great. I did a deployment on the Stout also. We went to the same places, but when you change people, going to the same places is a lot different and can be a lot more fun.
Ah, okay. So working on those 5-inch guns, what are some of the challenges with working on them? I mean, clearly you have a piece of machinery on the front of a boat out in the ocean. Everything wants to corrode, right? So,
oh, yes.
Yeah, so what is that like?
Tiring.
Okay.
There's a lot of work to do, a lot of big components that need to be, protected from seawater. So we constantly have to go out and make sure that the brass on it stays shiny, make sure that there's no water coming in. So all our seals are holding the seawater out. Then on the internal components, make sure that we keep them nice and greased up just in case we needed to use our weapon. It was properly running. We had it loaded most of the time, so we'd have to unload all of the rounds that were in it just to do maintenance on it, just to put them back in, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, so they're loaded.
And when you get to a certain point in Fifth Fleet, they want you to maintain a certain weapons posture, so you would keep it loaded at some points and unloaded at others.
Okay, very neat. So what was it like your first time up on the ship? Because, all right, so you grew up in San Antonio, Texas, right? Okay, you went through A school, you went through C school, right? And now it's like, all right, you're walking up to this big gray thing for the first time, right? Do you remember what that was like? I'm trying to ask you these questions in the framework of the cadets of like, what would it, what was your first, experience or anything? It's like, wow, this has just got real.
So I'm from San Antonio, which is not on the water. It's kind of a distance away. So I'd never been on a boat before, any kind of boat. So I got there, I walked on board, and it was huge. And so I was a little afraid. And then within 10 minutes, I was lost. I had no idea where I was. Everything kind of looks the same. I fell down a flight of stairs. So that was a lot of fun, but I had people there helping me after a while. My first underway was actually what made me want to stay in. It was actually pretty fun getting to go out onto the water in the middle of the ocean. There's nothing around you. There's waves everywhere. Sorry, my dog is trying to join us.
Join away. That's fine.
Yeah, it is super cool being out, and whenever everything gets dark, it is completely pitch black because you're in the middle of the ocean and the stars look amazing. You can see everything. So that's what made me want to continue going out to sea.
Oh, excellent. Very nice. Very nice. So tell us more about the gunner's mate rating.
Okay. It's actually one of the oldest rates in the Navy, which was, I thought, super cool. One of the first Chief Petty Officer ratings, and actually the first Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy was a gunner's mate, Master Chief Delbert Black. So that's kind of our father of the GM rate.
Nice.
Yes. We like to say that we're the only thing that keeps Navy ships from just being boats. We are warships because of us.
Right. Very nice. Again, why did you choose this rating? Because everyone I've talked to in this series, right, are very passionate about their rates, right? Yeah. We all are. I was passionate about my rate as well. So it's like, what gravitated you towards this, right? Because you walked in, I'm sure you just walked into a recruiter's office, and it's like, okay.
Well, whenever you go into a recruiting office, obviously everyone recruiting has their own rate, their own sea stories, how they did and what they did. And so at this point, I can't even remember what the other rates in the office were. But when I talked to a gunner's mate, he was like, okay, hold on, let me tell you some of my stories. And I thought they were just the coolest, the best stories. And I was like, yeah, I want to be like you. I want to shoot guns and teach people to shoot guns and watch missiles being launched. That's what I want to do.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's where I enjoy talking to everybody in this series, is because everybody has these great stories or experiences, and it adds to people's decision-making process, right? So you had that conversation with that gunner's mate, and you were hooked, right?
Yes.
Right. Then there was a whole bunch of hard work.
A lot of hard work. What we do is just, people underestimate. We do work with small guns, lots of small guns. Then we work with crew serve weapons, which are a little bit bigger. But we also work with torpedoes and missile systems and the 5-inch gun. There's the Mark 110. There's a lot of work that goes into it.
So as a gunner's mate on a smaller ship, are you responsible for all the guns on that?
All of the weapon systems, all of the guns, yes.
Wow. Okay.
All the ammo as well.
Okay. Very cool.
Okay. Do we want to play this video? It'll show you all kinds of GM things.
Sure.
This 5-inch weapon system behind me is the largest gun system on the ship. Feels like your body kind of compresses just a little bit.
Gunner's mate is one of the 2 oldest rates in the Navy. Somebody who obviously takes care of guns. We work with every type of weapons control system on a ship.
9mm Beretta, shotgun, M500, M14s, M16s, M4s, 25 mics, 50 caliber machine guns and 240 machine guns, as well as the 5-inch.
25mm, 50 cal, and 240s are typically small boats or just close-in defense of the ship. If you're out, near Iran, they like to harass us. Sea Whiz is also close-in defense, but more for air threats. It could be an enemy missile. 5-inch can be used against air or surface contacts. Use it against another ship. Use it for an amphibious operation, embarking the beach before Marines land.
I myself am a VLS tech, so I work on the vertical launching system for the missiles. VLS is a lot more technical. There's a lot more electronics involved. You really have to use the training that you're given in A school and C school. Gun shoot days are my favorite because people can actually see what we talk about all the time, what we train for.
3 decks down, where the magazine's at, we'll have people putting rounds into the hoist. The hoist will bring the rounds up.
Tomorrow we're going to be shooting the 5-inch gun, and that's my baby. I like when people know, like, oh yeah, that gun.
The entire ground shakes beneath your feet, obviously. If you're in the ship, everything rattles. If you're sleeping, you're not sleeping anymore.
So that was your baby right there, wasn't it?
Yes, just like she said, that's her baby. That was my baby too. The 5-inch is just the best gun. It's big, it's loud. Everyone knows when it's working.
Okay. All right. So do they get to fire that frequently?
No, unfortunately not. We do test shoots every time we go underway just to verify that it is working when we need it.
Okay. Very nice. Very cool.
This 5-inch weapon system behind.
So,
Okay.
all right. So let's talk about it a little bit more. Wow, because there's a lot of weaponry going on here.
A lot. So, like we said, we work on small guns, crew-served weapons. We have the 5-inch, which is big guns. We also do torpedoes. A lot of people don't know that there used to be a torpedo-man rate, and they took care of that all on their own. And then they eventually got merged with GMs, and we took it over too. So we load torpedoes. We keep them running just the same as we do every other gun weapon system. We also do a lot of technical work, troubleshooting the electrical systems in both the 5-inch, the missile system, and the torpedoes. We work on magazine sprinklers. We run small arms gun ranges. There's a lot to our job that people don't realize we keep running.
So, I mean, I can relate to what's going on with the small arms and like the 5-inch, but a torpedo is something completely different. So is there like specialty sub-training for that? And is that also something that you do?
It's not something that I do personally. There's a school that you can go to just to get extra training, loading, unloading, and working their electrical system. But everyone on a ship as a GM works together. So we'll all help each other out. We'll go up and do maintenance with each other.
Okay. So as far as like doing maintenance, do you have any good stories in relationship to something which wasn't working and you had to get it fixed right away and there was some pressure associated with it? I'm trying to write a good, Hollywood story here, but those types of situations and that you could share with us?
I actually have a very funny story. From one of my first underways, we were on a destroyer, so there was 2 5-inch guns. I was in the first one working on it, doing maintenance, and then we got called back to 5-2, which is the mount that's in the back of the ship. So we're in there. We realized that we needed to drain all of the hydraulic fluid in the gun. That's a lot of hydraulic fluid. We need 2 55-gallon drums just to get all of the fluid out. So we set our hoses to start draining the system, and we ended up going to flight quarters, which is where they have helos landing on the ship. So we needed to depart the weapon system, so they didn't have any chance of anyone moving it. Mm-hmm. So we all leave the gun. We go back up to 5-1, and I sent one of my junior sailors. I won't say his name because he'll still be embarrassed about this, but I sent him back into Mount 5-2 because we needed to lower the barrel. Well, he didn't realize that he needed to unattach the hoses that were draining the hydraulic fluid before he started it. So hydraulic fluid started pouring out everywhere. The hoses detached from it, and there was just fluid everywhere. It all drained out all over the floor. You could smell it from the entire back half of the ship.
Oh, wow. Okay. How many people were really happy about that?
Well, just 2, me and my first class, because we got to watch him clean it all up.
Okay. Excellent. Right. All right. So where did it go? Did it actually go inside the ship, or was it like all over the outside?
It was on the inside. It was all inside of the control room, all over the floor.
Great.
Yeah. So he had a fun time cleaning it all up.
Okay. Did that ever happen again with this person?
Oh, no, never again.
Very cool. Like it. Very nice. So when you were out at sea again, all right, so you're training the crew as well to do these types of things, right? And there's so many different rates that, not everybody is either touched a gun or touched it enough to be comfortable with it or all that. So you have to get them over that hump, right? And get them going.
Those are my favorite people.
All right. So what's that like? Give me some insight of how you break through that barrier to get them comfortable and using the equipment correctly.
Oh, I think it's a lot easier to teach someone who's never held a gun or never shot a gun, because they just listen to everything you say. They understand, they learn safety rules because, they've never done it before. Right. So you go through a lot of PowerPoints and, some actual training before you let them get hands-on. Then we won't introduce any ammo. We'll just give them the weapon system, let them touch it, familiarize themselves. We'll do what we call a dry fire. So we'll have them, pretend fire it without any ammo.
Right.
So they can get more comfortable feeling it, the weight of it. Right. And then we'll actually go to teaching them how to shoot. We teach them the fundamentals first because, that's the bottom line, the basics, everything that'll get them through their qualification.
Oh, okay. So clearly you had to go through all that with your training too, right? Yeah. So when you started doing that, what was that like for you? Because these are, the first time through. Now you're to the level that you're training somebody. But you had to be trained, right?
Oh, yes.
You had to go through the same thing. So walk us through that. What was that like?
I was terrible when I first started. Okay. I had never touched guns. I didn't know what I was doing. I was afraid of it a little at first. Okay. And then luckily I had really good people that made me feel comfortable, that trained me. They would just not let me quit until I got it right. At first I was like, I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to qualify. I'm going to be bad at this. I'm going to have to change jobs. And then they were just like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Keep going. Keep working at it. Okay. And I did. And then once I got to as good as I was like, okay, now I want to start teaching people. So I had to go to different schools to learn how to do that too.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so we have a video of one of the weapons that we shot at a school I went to. It got a little hot at the end.
Okay, so what weapon was that? Oh, okay, we have more, but okay. So there you are. Look at you. All right. So What weapon were we just looking at?
Oh, so the one I was shooting before this video wasn't a Navy weapon. It was one of the fellow students wanted to bring his own personal firearm, and everyone wanted to try it because it looked really cool.
Okay.
It was a 9mm, but it looks like a rifle. So everyone was like, "Oh goodness, like I want to try that."
Okay.
And then this one right here is a qualification of a 9mm Beretta, the weapon that we shoot right now in the Navy.
Mhm.
This is me doing one of our Cat 3 courses, which is a faster qualification.
Draw the gun and hit it. Hit it. Move. Move. Now clean it up and make it perfect. Oh, yeah. Woo.
Everyone's excited.
Including you.
I was really excited. I was happy. That's one of the courses we do. We have steel plates that you shoot at. You do one that's at, I want to say it was at 15 yards.
Right.
Then there are 2 that are at 7 yards. And then there's one very far back at 25 yards. So you have to do, standing, you hit the 15. Kneeling, you hit 2 on each of the ones that are at 7 yards. Then you lay down prone and you do 25 yards. You have to do it all within 15 seconds. So, it gets a little tricky to move that fast, shoot that fast, having to get on target and be accurate. So once you get it, it's a really good feeling.
So, all right, it's just us. How long did it take for you to do that?
That was, I think, my 5th try.
Okay.
Before I finally actually got it. We do lots and lots of training up to it. We do dry fire also. We still get training all the time. We don't just, oh, I'm a gunner's mate now, I don't have to work at it. We have to keep doing training. We push ourselves to get even faster times. So the one I got there, I believe, was 11 seconds. And that was the fastest I had gotten on it. And I kept working towards it. I think I'm at like 10:45 now. So.
Wow. All right. Okay. Nobody mess with her. Okay. So back on the ship, right? Some other people we've talked to, say MAAs, were all part of, say, like a quick reaction force on the ship. Is that part of the responsibilities that you have? Because with those skills, you would think that you would want someone like you doing stuff like that. So do you work the ship security, and give us some insight of what that's all about?
On a small ship, everyone is reaction force. We don't have enough gunner's mates to only be reaction force, because we have to arm up personnel also. We have to stand normal watches. So I wasn't part of the reaction force, but most of the time, if I was standing a watch on in our weapon system, the 5-inch, then I wouldn't be able to be reaction force. Or if I was in the armory, then I'd get to arm up everyone. So I'd get to give them their plates and their guns, their holsters, ammo.
Okay. So clearly they practice this?
Yes. We have everyone practice. So what I'm doing now, because I'm no longer on a ship, I'm on a shore duty, but I'm at a training command.
Okay.
So I train personnel on how to make Cat 3 qualifications, which is a faster time. It's moving and shooting, dynamic shooting.
Okay.
You're doing more than just a basic qualification. And with this, we're training constantly. We teach people, you have to get qualified every 6 months on it. And if you don't keep your time, then you lose your qual.
Okay. So how do you train people to do this?
We do a lot of small drills. So we'll start with someone without ammo. We'll just have them practice going to kneeling, getting there very quickly, getting to prone very quickly. Then we'll move into actually shooting, and we'll go through thousands and thousands of rounds, getting them to just from the 7-yard line, hitting it, then going to kneeling, then going to prone really quickly, getting your shots off. We'll do all different kinds of small trainings just to get them ready for a bigger qualification, what we call the stress course, which is the very last, like, you are Cat 3 qualified. So we'll get them all pumped up, have them do push-ups, jumping jacks, something like that to get their heart rate up. Then we have them running and shooting.
Okay. So. All right. How much of that can you explain to us? What that's like, or is that a trade secret?
Oh no, it's hard to really explain. It's easier to show someone. You don't know what you're going to be like or how quick you're going to be with a weapon until you actually do it.
Right.
So we'll have someone standing. They'll have a target, 7 yards in front of them. We're like, okay, you get 5 seconds to shoot this target. You pull your weapon out of your holster,
Right.
get on target, shoot it, and be accurate. So we'll have them do that, and then we'll watch what they're doing the first time that they do it, just so we can see where they're at, where their head's at. If they get caught up in the holster, maybe they're just a little nervous. So we'll tell them, relax, go ahead and, stop, take a deep breath, and then we'll have them do it again. If they're not holding the weapon the right way, because, there's a lot of fundamentals that come into it. If you have a bad grip, then the recoil on the weapon is just going to make your shot off. If you don't have a correct sight picture and sight alignment, so you're not looking at the target the way that you should be, then your shot's going to be off. If you're, breathing heavy and you can't sit still or hold your gun still, then that's going to be something that turns you off, or makes you not get your good shot in a good time.
Okay.
So
that goes back to something that you were saying earlier about, who do you like to train the most, right? So if you're, unlearning and relearning, I guess that's pretty challenging, where people have come into this where it's like, okay, yeah, I've hunted for years, so I'm perfect for this, right? Or I spent some time, on a gun range, so I'm good to go. You don't really need to tell me anything. I got this. You probably get a bunch of those characters from
we get so many, people who have been hunting. They grew up with guns, they know them, and they're like, oh, don't worry about it, I got it. And I'm like, well, you don't, because I'm responsible for safety here. So you're going to do what I'm explaining to you, just for everyone else's safety here. And then I have people who come up and they don't know, and they're like, okay, what exactly do I need to do? And they listen and they take in what we're saying, and then they end up being better shots because they don't have bad habits that they learned that aren't, actually conducive to shooting accurately and shooting fast.
Oh, great. So let's go back to your time in the fleet. So you said you've visited quite a few places, right? You're out to sea. Tell us a little bit about them. What was your experience? What did you see?
Well, my definite favorite port was Croatia.
Croatia.
Pulled in. Yes, it was amazing. It's beautiful. It's obviously a lot of the places we pulled in are seaside because we need to be able to pull into them.
You're bringing a ship.
Yeah. Right. But it was just gorgeous. The people there were so nice. They absolutely loved us there. The food was so good. They had such fresh seafood, and they had a bunch of museums, which were super cool. The beaches were beautiful. The water was so blue. Right. It was really, really nice going to and seeing how other people live. But we've also, been to Italy. We got to see all of the food they have there, and Italian pizza is so good, by the way.
Right.
Bahrain, Dubai, it's really awesome being able to travel to places that I never thought I'd be able to go to.
So when you're in Croatia, and I'm, this is maybe giving back some existential type of thinking, but wind the clock back. You're growing up in Texas. Would you have imagined that you would have been there?
Oh, never. Until I realized I wanted to join the Navy, I thought that I would, if I ever traveled, it would be within the United States. And then fast forward a few years, and I'm sitting in this little cafe on a cliff in Croatia, and it was just the best experience. I got to send tons of pictures back home and, post on Facebook, and all of my friends back home were so jealous.
Okay. So, just to put yourself in, the same place as our cadets, is what was high school like for you? I'm really going back, right?
Yeah,
okay.
That was a while ago. It was good. It was fun. I played a lot of sports in high school, so I thought that's what I would be doing. I love soccer, softball.
Right.
I had a best friend, and I grew up with her. We met in middle school, actually our first year of middle school, went through that together, went to high school together. So I didn't have a clue that I would join. There was always the ROTC kids who knew that's what they were doing.
Right.
But I was just enjoying my time as a high school student.
Right.
you know,
So-
playing sports, hanging out with my friends, going to the mall and the movies.
Good normal stuff,
Hmm.
right? Do you think that helped you when you went to recruit training with all the athletics that you did?
Yes, definitely. Because I was used to working out. You know, we ran all the time for soccer. I didn't really have a problem running the 1.5 miles when they asked me to. The push-ups, on the other hand, were a different story. I had to work at getting those.
Okay. So how'd you build up endurance for that? Just grinding them out?
Just doing it. You do a lot of exercising in boot camp, especially if you're not particularly good at something. They're like, okay, go ahead, give me push-ups, give me sit-ups.
That's a very interesting way you put that. You know, it's almost like a reward, but it's not. Okay, excellent. All right, so again, you went to A school across the street at Great Lakes. What was it like over there? Because we have a lot of cadets who are looking at different fields, right? And different bases have different personalities, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're in Great Lakes, you're in recruit training, and then you're basically just going across the street from recruit training, right?
So much different though.
Did it feel different? Or
It does.
okay.
It was nice being able to walk on your own. You know, you didn't have to march everywhere with a group of people.
Okay.
That was nice. The food at that galley on base was so good.
Really?
Yes, I wanted to eat there all the time. It was amazing. They had really, really big fields, which I loved because I still liked playing soccer. So you could go. They had the base on gym that was really nice. So we'd go work out. We'd go play soccer. There was another little restaurant on base, and it was so good. They had really good pizza too.
Okay. I see it here. Okay.
I like pizza.
Okay. So that's all great. So, all right. Another line of questioning that the cadets historically ask are things like, you know, not everything works out to plan. Sometimes you want to accomplish something, but you run up against some sort of obstacle, right? Basically, you failed. Now, we're not talking about getting more push-ups, but, you know, all of us are in the Navy, we've done something and we, you know, as much as we wanted to do it, we've, you know, either we've messed up, we've made a mistake, something, you know, turned out wrong, right? So that's not as important as what did you do if you had this situation, right? What did you do to get over it? Because resiliency is a big thing, right? So did you ever have an experience like this? Of course, this is not a psychological experiment.
Oh,
right?
no.
But, you know, have you ever experienced something that you failed with it? And then how did you get over it?
I did. So as a gunner's mate, you know, you do your job every day, you learn it every day, and we're very, very hands-on.
Right.
So I picked up rank very quickly. You know, I made 3rd class, I made 2nd class first time up.
Nice.
And I thought, you know, I'm good at this. I got it. Like, there's no problem. So when I took the test for 1st class, I thought that I was just going to make it. There was no question about it. And I didn't on my first time up.
Right.
And so I was really upset about it with myself for not, you know, not doing something that I thought that I was going to do.
Right.
So I kind of, you know, let myself be a little sad for a bit. And then I was like, all right, well, now you know that you need to work at it a little bit more. So I studied. I had a really good group of people on the ship at the time. And so we had training all the time. We were looking at books. We were, you know, working with each other so that everyone could pick up rank. And the next time I was up for it, I took the test and I made it.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that I let myself be sad about it for a little while. And then I was like, all right, you're done with this. And I studied and I made it again.
Excellent. So it seemed like because you had success, right?
Yes.
That success would just continue. Because
yeah,
I wouldn't. Right? Okay. And I get that, and that's reasonable for anyone, right? Because if you're doing something all the time, you would think it's just going to happen. So, what was the difference between, you know, just like maybe subject matter or something like that, between being a 2nd class GM and a 1st class GM? I mean, what do you think was that barrier that you had to overcome in order to get to the next rank?
So with second class, you're still doing everything hands-on, you're working hard. That was my exam, was nothing but system questions. How do you do this? And what is this? All kinds of questions that I knew because I did them all the time. Then whenever I went to take first class, it was more of a, where do you find the answer to this? What publication is it in?
Okay.
What is this form? And so it was more towards, administrative and things that I hadn't really worked with so much because I was always too busy, hands-on. And I wasn't really in the, what happens if something goes bad? Who do you report it to? So I had to work through working on that side of it.
Oh, okay. Great. I also noticed you have a couple warfare designators, right?
Oh, I do. Hold on. Let me get a little higher so you can see them.
Okay.
This side.
I know, right?
It's a little swap. I have my surface warfare pin that I got while I was on the Scout, which is, a surface ship. And then I have my EXW, which is the Expeditionary Warfare pin, which is the command I'm at now.
So tell us a little bit about that. It's slightly unique.
So the surface pin was actually very difficult for me to get because you have to learn the whole ship.
Right.
You have to learn everyone's system. You've got to learn engineering and navigation. And it's going around, learning other people's jobs, how the ship runs,
right.
What happens if there's casualties, if it's a fire, flooding. You also have to put in work to do drills. You have to do firefighting drills, dewatering drills, sea and anchor, which is pulling the ship, in and out, helping out with line handling and a lot of things like that. It was very tough, but it was very rewarding because after that, I realized there was a lot of stuff about the ship that I did not know when I was staying just in my bubble.
Okay. Well, actually, that's a great thing. Right?
Yeah.
I can see how that's a significant amount of work. So then the other designator is what?
Expeditionary Warfare pin.
So
I'm at an Expeditionary Command right now. So we're more land side. I'm at the Maritime Expeditionary Security Group 2, which is where I'm at now. Right now, I train people on small arms, mostly. So I teach them, how to shoot whenever they go out on small patrol boats. And then whenever they take groups of people called ESET teams, the embark security teams, onto supply ships to protect the ship. So I'll teach them crew-served weapons and how to react if they get probed by boats or if there's a man overboard or, things of that nature. I just show them what they should be doing, how they do it.
All right. From the weapon standpoint, do you actually go out with them on the exercises as well?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. So what is that like?
It's a lot different than being on a ship, on a small boat. It's so much smaller. You can feel all of the waves. It's cold most of the time. The water spraying at you constantly, the wind, but it's actually really cool being able to, feel the whole boat move when they're just shooting crew-served weapons.
Okay. So what exactly are those types of weapons? They seem to be a general class of things, but our cadets may not be familiar with what.
Okay, yeah. So crew-served weapons are like the 50 cal and the 240. So those are weapons that, it's crew-served, so you would need more than one person to shoot. But you are shooting the weapon yourself. You would have an A gunner, though, a person with you on the mount that's helping loading, things like that. They're just bigger caliber guns.
Okay. So sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So back to, when you're out in the fleet. So with the different activities that you did and the different deployments that you did, are there any deployments where that you felt uncomfortable while you were there? Like something that the ship was doing. I mean, maybe you can't get into specifics, and that's okay. But I mean, just to give the sense of like what this adventure is like, because it's all not fun and games. There's some hard stuff.
There's a lot of hard stuff. My last deployment, again, we were in the Persian Gulf, and there's a lot of different countries that want to come, not necessarily do bad things, but they want to gauge how you're going to react to them being there.
Right.
So they'll send boats out, they'll send helicopters out, and, you know, you're sleeping in the middle of the night, you know, you've been on watch, you just lay down, and then they come and probe, and then you have to get up and you have to go man your station. You've got to go to the gun mount, or you have to go outside in the cold or the hot, just to stand up there and make sure they know that you are there in case they decide to do anything. So you're standing by your gun, you're just waiting, and then they leave and you have to just stop, you know, take your stuff off, put it back, go back to bed.
Okay.
And then you wait, and then, you know, if it happens again, you go right back out, stand out there for a little while longer. So it gets hard.
Okay. What would you say your hardest school was that you had to go through?
Hardest school. I wouldn't say they're hard necessarily, but whenever you go through any kind of armory school, whenever you have to learn actually how to take apart the weapons, you take them, you know, in depth, it gets a little tricky whenever you have to know all the parts, the names, exactly what they do.
Right.
That's a little difficult. So I went through SAMI and SISWI, and they were both a little difficult, challenging, but.
All right. So being a first class petty officer, you have folks that report up to you.
Yeah.
I'm confident this has happened, but you know, have you ever had a sailor that reports up to you that was going through a difficult time, right? And then you, in a leadership position, was able to help them in some sort of way, to be less, you know, to be actually be a mentor or to be a support person, and to help them, you know, maybe right their own ship, if you want to call it that.
Oh, yeah, a lot actually.
Okay.
You know, people they have their own things, whether it's a work thing or personal. You want to make your personnel feel like they can come to you for anything, that you'll be there for them, no matter what. I've had junior sailors who have tough family situations. So they come to me, and, you know, I'll go directly to my chief, like, hey, I've given this person some time off. They're going to go home. They're going to get their mind together, because, you know, you can't do your job well if your mind is other places. And when you're working with weapons, that's not something that you want to happen. You want to be completely there and in it. So, you know, at times you've got to let someone either go and handle it on their own time, or you talk to them about it. I'm here, you know, we're going to work through this. You're going to be at my side. We're going to get some work done, and we're going to push through.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And when they came back, I'm sure they thanked you for your support.
Oh, I have a lot of junior sailors that still reach out, and they're like, hey, you know, I just wanted to let you know I'm still in, and I'm glad I stayed in. You know, I'm where I'm at. I'm doing really good things. So it's really, really cool to get calls like that.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. All right. So let's go into, I don't know if this is a different subject, but maybe it is. We'll find out. But, you know, when I think of gunner's mate, I have this, you know, preconceived notion of the person, right? Okay. Same thing with, say, you know, someone who's working on the decks and all that type of stuff, right? You're not what I picture when I think of mate. Okay. So has there been any challenges with that? Because clearly you know your stuff. Clearly you're outstanding. I can see that from here. You know, it's not like, oh, you're breaking some sort of barrier, but it's got to be maybe a little bit tougher for females to establish credibility.
It really, really is.
Okay. So how do you do that? Because we have so many female cadets who, you know, again, it's a matter of don't look at me as a gender, think of me as a person, but you have to establish that, you know, you don't get respect just because you show up. You earn it, right? So how did you get there?
By doing the work, honestly. If there's going to be something done, you know, I've had plenty of times whenever I was a junior sailor, and I'd come up and they'd be like, hey, we're moving ammo on board. Don't worry about it. You can sit this one out. You know, they're pretty heavy. And I'm like, no, I'm not. If you're up here, I'm up here. That's how it works. You do it. It does get tough, you know, whenever you're people come to you and they're like, hey, I want an explanation for something. And they'll turn to, a man that's beside you. Like,
Wow.
no, I know the answers. I will give them to you. So it gets tough, but you just stand your ground. I have had a ton of female junior sailors, and I tell them the same thing. Just stand your ground, do your job, be good at it. And it might suck that we have to work a little bit harder, but
Okay.
it'll make you better in the long run.
Well, that's it's a little shocking that somebody would do that nowadays. It's like, look, I have a question, and they go to the male, right? Who's probably like an E3. Wait,
Yeah.
you see this rank tab here, right? So hopefully that's still not happening. Particularly when I just saw you just laying down lead with that pistol.
Well, yeah, no.
Okay.
It happens a lot less as you move up in the ranks, but still, I would say the same thing to my junior sailors. Any junior female petty officer, just stand your ground and know what you're talking about, and you'll make it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. All right. So you mentioned at Great Lakes that they had really good food, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Did you have the same experience on the ships?
I'm sorry if there's any future CSs watching or any current CSs watching, but no. They try really hard, but they're making food for 300 and something people. It's not always the best, but you get tons of snacks. There's a ship store that you can go and buy all kinds of food in, but they get you what you need to survive, and
so you'll be fine.
You will be fine, yes.
Don't complain, because you're all in this together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. So, back again when you're out in the fleet. So you mentioned how, say, at night, how dark it is and what that's like. Do you have any other good reflections about being out at sea that you could share with our cadets?
Yeah, I mean, tons. It's great. So, especially when you're out on deployment, people tend to get closer. You make so many good friends, people that will stick with you for a lifetime. So whenever you're not busy or on watch or, doing maintenance, they will have like ice cream socials. So they'll put out a bunch of ice creams on the mess decks and toppings. So you'll have, be able to make hot fudge sundaes. And it's really nice being able to just sit with them, on the mess deck, so you can go sit outside while it's calm and quiet and you can see the stars, and you just get to, talk to them and hang out, relax after having worked so hard.
Okay.
It's really, really great.
Very cool. Have you been able to take advantage of any of the education benefits?
I have, yes. I am using TA currently. It's amazing, actually, how easy it is to be able to do school while you're in. I didn't think it would be that way.
Right.
But you take a few classes, the Navy pays for it. I don't have to worry about anything from it. It's really easy. And a lot of my chain of command is very supportive of it. They want you to succeed. They want to set you up. So they, ask me all the time, how's your class going? How are you doing in it? How, are things working out? And it's cool.
So do you have a particular course of study?
Yes, I'm studying mechanical engineering.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. I really didn't get into it until I started working on 5-inch and realized how, the hydraulics work and the pneumatics work on it. And it's a lot more than just a gun. It's a whole system of things working together to complete a task. And I really liked that. So I started looking into it. I started working towards my degree. It's so much fun for me. It's really exciting and really interesting.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. So the 5-inch really has changed your life.
Yes, absolutely.
What school are you attending?
I'm sorry?
What school?
Oh, Old Dominion University.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
yeah, I know exactly where that is. Yeah, that giant monorail to nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been there. Okay. Very nice. Congratulations. That's great. Yeah. So what's next? Where do you want to go next? If you had your pick and the Navy would say, okay, whatever you want, you got it.
I think I am going to be looking for orders soon, and I'm hoping for Washington State. Sorry.
It appears that your dog is in agreement with you. Okay.
Yeah. Washington State, that's where I'd want to go. I love being outdoors, and I know that I can go and bike and go on all kinds of skiing trips there. That's where I want to go.
Good. Well, again, your dog sounds like it wants to go with you too, so that's fantastic, right? Washington is also very beautiful. So to do that, would that be a shipboard assignment, or is that another?
Yeah, it'll be a shipboard. I'll go back to another ship, do 5-inch again.
Because you can't get away from the 5-inch.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. All right. So I do want to wrap up our discussion today with the one question that our cadets always want to know. All right. So it's not supposed to be a trick, right? Okay. But I want you to think about it. So take your time, but it's a multi-stage question. Okay. All right. So here's the question. If you were to describe the Navy in just one word, what would that be and why? You can't get a lifeline from somebody calling in to give you.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's so bad. One word and what and why?
One word and why? Does life-changing count as one word, or is that two?
You know what? After seeing you handle that weapon, you can have that word. Okay, go.
Yeah, I never would have imagined being where I am now, doing all of the things that I have and meeting all the people that I have. Without the Navy, I wouldn't have had any of this or known any of the things that I do, I didn't know that I was capable of doing a lot of the things that I have done because of the Navy.
Okay. So it is indeed life-changing.
Yes.
One word.
We're making it one word.
Okay, very good. Well, GM1, thank you very much for spending time with us. Also appreciate your dog. He or she is very enthusiastic. Love that.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. And again, thank you for spending time with us. Cadets, I certainly hope you got a lot of insight into the GM rate and what it's actually like being out in the fleet with this. To me, it sounds really cool. And clearly you can see the passion for what she's doing. And you can't get a life that's any more rewarding than something that you feel really good and passionate about. So again, something absolutely to think about. So GM1, thank you very much again.
Thank you for having me.
Certainly. So cadets, we are going to post the link for the online quiz here very shortly. So get on that, get your 2 hours of virtual drill credit. It's no big deal. Everything that we talked about today was on that quiz, I think. If not, look it up. You know how to do it. Google, it's your friends. No big deal. So on behalf of myself, MC1 Quinlan, STG1 Lewison, and our talent scout, Ensign DePippo, I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening, and we will see you next time on another episode of Real Sailors, Real Sea Stories. Take care, everybody. Have a nice evening.